This is Justin AMZN on Monday, February 24th, 2020. Taking a look at kind of the grid of charts that I have that I usually use. So we got the daily here, which you can see we have a really large bearish retest gap. The 5 minute, just looking at today, the 5 minute of the 2100 calls and the 5 minute of the 1900 puts, all expiring, or both of these expiring this Friday. I think it's easiest to see the correlation with the puts to the 5 minute. So this chart here, just because you can see when it was really moving directionally, and I mean, you had some really similar candles. Like here's a nice hammer, here's a nice inverted hammer, here's an engulfing candle. This one isn't quite engulfing, but it's close. Kind of a stair step here, right at this resistance pivot. You have a stair step here that reverses. There's just some really nice levels today. So let's jump into the 5. And if I remember how to get it large again, there you go, max. Okay, we hit, well, we opened up here and went from this line to this line really quickly, super quickly. Chopped on here, broke down, barely paused here, came right down to this line, went back to this line, went back to this line, went back to this line, broke down. I mean, it's just crazy how these lines work. That's what I'm getting at. There's 4 lines in here because it's chopped in this area so much before that we just got into a really, really choppy zone. And it played out like tremendously well. The low of the day was this hammer. It immediately bounced back up to this line, immediately rolled back down, immediately bounced, and then started to roll down again. And that's when it got some bullishness and actually a decent bullish move for about an hour here. What was that? Almost an hour, something like that. But you can see, I mean, look at this. The high in this candle is 2013-17. The line is 2013. This one, we stopped right here. The low was 2005 and 18 cents. The line's at 2005. I mean, these are values, these are levels that we've had in, drawn out for a year and almost a year and a half. September 4th of 18, August 31st of 18, August 29th of 18, and August 30th of 18. So this is going back nearly a year and a half, right? Is that right? Yeah. Close to a year and a half that these levels were in play, some time ago. And that was way back over here. So we're back in the early all-time high, when it was making an all-time high in August, this is the range we just got back down into. And so what's interesting on the daily here, so there's a lot of choppiness. We've got a high wave candle. We trapped some people, gapping down where people were buying, we trapped people. And then, people who were shorting it below this level, they're now trapped. This thing, it really needs to get going directionally, one way or the other. We're right in the middle of this uptrend, literally the middle of it. I don't know if you can get a better close than right here in the middle of this. But anyway, we could go bullish from here. We could go bearish from here. Whichever we go, I think we're going to head right into one of these channel, one of these lines in the channel. I just don't know which one. I was talking on the last video I did that, this could be a nice next target right in here. We start trading lower. We just gapped down to the middle of this. And today was so choppy. It played out so well on this tight range of lines. This is, I think this is one of the tighter ranges of lines I've got. And so it's just phenomenal to see it working again so well. If we look at the calls, things didn't really get going bullish until this over here. Puts, they were in a field day with this move. Look at these moves here. There was very much a level of pivot right in here where once it got through, it pushed through here. But once things settled down a bit, got some smaller candles, ripped higher from there, came back to it, ripped higher from there, came back to it, ripped higher from there. And aside from this wick, it almost looks like a head and shoulders. It's just, this isn't really much of a shoulder since it's higher. That's my one issue with calling this like an inverted head and shoulders. It's more of like a double bottom with an extra little dip. It's kind of a multi-bottom, even though this made a higher low than this. Technically, this made a higher low than this because the low here was 1978 and 97 cents, and the low here was 1989. There you go. Did I say that right? 1987, 97 cents, and then 1989. Okay. Anyway, a couple places to play this, mainly bearish. The bulls, I mean, you could have been in right out the gate. That was probably your best bet. But I mean, it would have been setting up something to just be a puke order down here. But that had the biggest bullish move of the day by far. And then any of these other moves, I mean, you're just kind of scalping something. You know, it's a gap down, so you're scalping, getting in like 5x4 and just looking to get any sort of gain. And for a while, it wasn't working at all. But what's interesting about both of these, you know, we're about $100, 100 points out of the money. And all through here, it's chopping between really being closer to the calls versus closer to the puts, being at the money for those. And sorry, it's easier to see if I switch back to this. You can see the disparity in how the range was. You had a pretty big opening range on both, which is kind of crazy. You could have been buying both calls and puts right out the gate and seeing a similar move. I think just so much volatility got pumped into it in the first 5 minutes. Then it calmed down in the next 5 minute candle, or at least had a decent enough move. But then things started to settle out. It took a little while. It took like an hour or so for things to kind of settle out. I mean, and it chopped through here for such a long time. But once, I mean, we had a much smaller range. Both of these were around $4 with the lows. This was right here, 405, 405. And then over here, we're at 366. Over here, 365. So what's crazy is, I mean, the lows held as the lows on these strikes. I wasn't buying the lows. I wasn't buying close to the lows. It didn't work out quite that well. I'm looking back, obviously, now and seeing, oh, man, that would have been a great level. You know, buying puts up here, buying calls down here. You know, those are areas I'm looking at like, is it really going to hold again? Or is this going to roll over? Like I was thinking down here, it's like, oh, this looks like it could just totally roll over. And nope, it bounced again. It's just kind of crazy how the levels actually work so well. So that's why we've got them on here. We'll see if we chop around some more. It looks to me like it's going to retrace some more. It looks like it broke down, had another breakdown, put it in a nice distribution here. And it's starting to go higher. Accumulation here, and now it's starting to go higher. And it just retested the high, this pivot area right into the close. But, it's ironic here, and this is kind of the fractal side of things. We're pretty much right in the middle of these two lines, which is also pretty much right in the middle of these two lines. And then if we switch back over to the daily, we're pretty much right in the middle of these two lines. So it's just, there's a lot of things going on at multiple different levels. One thing I did notice is on the 30 minute, we have a pretty big squeeze forming here, mainly because it really was so range bound. You can see kind of the quick bullishness, then the roll down, some sort of Morningstar reversal, a hammer, another sort of hammer. It looks like, okay, we've retested at least into the 21. Now, where are we going to go from here? We're going to keep pushing higher. The momentum says yes. The momentum here, the histogram says bullish momentum with the squeeze means it could really have a solid move up. Zooming out, looking at this, we've had other squeezes. We had, a squeeze that lasted all through here and really got moving bullish. We had some squeezes through here right before earnings, which kind of discount a bit. But I'm just seeing that, even though we had some of these triangles going, I'm not seeing any triangles right in here, but I'm seeing a big push down with the bearish momentum just because we had such a large move lower, and then the gap to open when the pre-market started this morning. We've also had squeezes that haven't really done much of anything. I mean, it does something after hours and then comes back in. So just trying to figure out where can we go from here. I think we're at a really nice level of support. You can see we chopped through the same range going back just a couple weeks. And so if we can get going bullish, I think you have the same potential. Anybody who missed buying through here just got another opportunity to buy through here. But if they've smartened up a little bit about the gap down here, they don't want to be the first ones in looking for it to do that today and just completely fade back up, because that really wasn't the trade that worked today. The trade was, or the better trade, today was just being patient and just looking to take some profit, fading it once it rested, sorry, I'm in the wrong, I want to go back to the 5 minute. I'm like, I can't find the 5 minute because I changed it to 30 minute. The trade was waiting and letting this play out to see, okay, here's some levels. How are we going to do interacting with them? Oh, it's working. It's going down. It's holding as resistance. We just lost support. Okay, it's holding this support. Oh, now it's holding this resistance. Holding the support again. Let's get in. Holding this resistance. Get out. And then it comes down here and a really nice Morningstar reversal. It's like, oh, that's different. It's similar to this. It just wasn't as clean. I mean, it made not a new low in the day, but it made a new low from here. Started it going and immediately rolled back down from the 21. And so, it was a difficult day to be in trades, looking to go directionally bullish, looking to go directionally bearish. You really just had to pick the level and just get in there, whichever direction it was going. And if you were doing that, going bearish here and here and here, it worked this time and then not this time. And if you were going bullish here and here, then hopefully you're getting out here and here, but then you totally missed this because it didn't come down far enough. So this was, getting people in and out of trades or just trapping people who were just holding through it. The options were losing premium all day long. So just a difficult day to trade, but look at the candles, look at the chart, look at these strikes. They're way out of the money. I'm hoping that we'll get some better ranges, some closer strikes tomorrow, because there was just so much volatility. I just wanted to go out further to see how could you have really mitigated your risk, keep it down to $100, and let these play out. And so I've already said, the lows through here. So the puts, the lows around 4. You had an opportunity to get into that in the end of the day and just scalp an R or a little bit more. And then here, the lows were around 4, and you had an opportunity to scalp and you had to hold for a while, but it just wasn't really moving strongly directionally. Even this was a nice strong move. And on the calls, that amounted for this, and you really had to be in already, because if you weren't in already, you were probably getting in around 550, and it only moved up to about 7. So, even though it was going strongly bullish through here, you're so far out of the money because you need $100 risk that it just didn't move that well. Again, on Monday, a lot of volatility. It's going to be slower. So take your time, be slower responding. That's what I learned today. Hope this helps. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.